always takes so long. Welcome back. I did it. We're live. Welcome to the Scotty Survivor Steel City LRG Recap Podcast. I'm Naomi Calhoun. Joining me is Lee and Shane. Lee, how are you doing today?
Doing well, having a good Easter now that I've learned that it's a religious holiday.
We teach Lee something new every podcast, and it's truly a journey. And I can't wait to see what next week brings. And Shane, how are you doing?
I'm doing great today. It's a beautiful day.
Got stuck in an elevator. You're having a great time. You know how it is.
We're vibing.
We're vibing. So we are here to talk about Scotty Survivor Episode 3, the most dramatic episode so far. Episode 4. Has it really been that long? Oh my god.
Yeah. You're still stuck on.
I'm stupid.
You're still stuck on Elle going home last episode. Like, I just can't imagine an episode without Elle. So we're just stuck on 3.
I'm still devastated. Yes, episode 4. Thank you for correcting me. And what a banger of an episode this was. So right out of the gate, Shane, I want to ask you what inspired this type of swap? Why do this sort of, I don't want to say convoluted because that's not the right term, but really elaborate form of swapping that I loved? What was the inspiration for that?
It was more so that we just didn't want a random draw. Also, because we were remote at this point, a random draw seemed super boring to watch. Mm-hmm. So I think it was inspired by us trying to wanting it to look interesting. And then we were like, well, we can't just have a schoolyard pick because I feel like that will be boring. But this was planned preseason, so like we didn't know what anything would look like. We just was like, to make good TV and probably screw somebody's game over, and it did. So
I would say it actually screwed 2 people's games over pretty hard.
Yeah, but only one of them really had a chance.
Oh, come on. I'm rooting for my King of Queens, Jacob. How dare you? I love him.
I never said it was Jacob. I just said it was one person.
Oh, I don't think Jacob had a chance.
No.
Absolutely not.
Poor guy. Really nice. All right. Okay, so let's start off. We're still kind of feeling the ramifications of the Elle vote, whether or not she really had anything to do with that. I feel like Leo and Olivia are really trying to cement themselves as like the head of the tribe. Lee, what did you think of, like, I guess basically everyone's kind of predicting a swap too. Like, there's a lot going on in the early part of this episode, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, everyone's saying, but if we swap, we're screwed, but it's probably not going to happen, which in Survivor editing, we know it's going to happen. And going in knowing that it was going to be a swap, it was like, oh, you people are going to be so disappointed next meeting.
You sweet summer children. It's about to
be
innocent. A bad day.
Yeah, that's how I feel whenever we swap them. Like, we swapped them so many times in season 2 that they just hate us whenever we say drop your bombs.
Yeah, we did that in Survivor New York season 4. We did that to them a couple times, and we did it to them at the end of the night, and I could tell that they were ready to just kill us. Like, they were like, oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? This was quite, and I think like the most interesting part of this is it's really like, I don't know, like Michael. We were getting so much Michael this episode, and I just loved watching his brain work, and then ultimately like not really work in the benefit of the person he felt very closely aligned with. Shane, what did you think about Michael's journey in this moment, this episode in particular?
I mean, I definitely think that we're seeing a lot of Michael. I'm not going to say why we're seeing a lot of Michael, but it's his relationship with Amara, I think, in particular, is something that was tried. We were trying to highlight that. And so I think that Michael is an interesting spot because he does have people in his corner, but he did end up in like kind of a tricky spot in comparison to some of the others.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think for all the planning that Baldur kind of did, really like barely worked in their favor.
Well, he screwed himself. He was definitely not supposed to send Cushy to that tribe.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he didn't screw himself. He screwed Amara over, essentially, by sending Cushy with... If he really was, like, thinking about it, he should have sent either Corey, Zoe, or May with
I think he didn't expect the tribes to be split into 3. He probably thought,
yeah,
I'll just send Cushy just so it doesn't look too suspicious, which, him being a super fan, he should know that always expect the unexpected.
Well,
the classic Survivor saying.
Yeah, and on the other side, I think maybe Michael was trying to seem like he liked Cushy or was giving Cushy more of a, like, hey, we didn't pick you last. You're still with us. We're friends.
Well, I think he was just trying to make sure that she wasn't on his team.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he picked Cushy being like, oh, if they lose, they can just vote off Cushy, be the easy vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
well, one day Michael will get maybe voted out, and we'll talk to him about it. Maybe, who knows? But I really think that like the Balder tribe sort of like over prepared in a weird way that I don't really think helped them at all. And that is, I know that like in Survivor you have to care a lot, especially in like a long term game. But like to me, they were thinking about all these different scenarios, and I don't know that like they ever really saw clearly what the ideal scenario should have been, which is, like you said, Shane, not putting Cushy on a tribe where it's like a flip could change everything. Lee, what did you think post swap of these tribes? We got 3 tribes now, baby.
Yeah. The first thing I was thinking was Leo and Dorothy are screwed. Jacob and Hallie are screwed. Olivia and Anthony could be screwed.
Yeah.
Because yes, they're the one tribe with the Ogun majority, but they're with the one Ogun member who, 1, they split the votes with the first tribal, and 2, lives right above one of the members of their other tribe, who she's been seeing with and quote unquote dating.
Oh, where are my notes? I wrote down Eric listed as Bachelor meets Survivor in his little Chiron. Fucking sent me.
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
loving
so
these
funny.
lower thirds.
We've got some good ones this upcoming episode too. I'm very excited.
Okay, one quick question about the lower thirds. Is Hallie really always that late?
Yeah, he's always that late.
Oh my god. I used to say that like I operated
to don't worry. The people that are late will always still be there.
I used to operate on the Calhoun Standard Time, which is like if you wanted me to be anywhere, you had to tell me like that it was an hour ahead of when it was because I was never going to show up on time. Lee, what were you going to say?
Trying to remember. I don't think I was going to say anything.
All right. Well, let's just break down who the new tribes are. We have New Ogun, which is Olivia, Audrey, and Anthony from Ogun, and they have retained Michael and Eric. And then you have New Balder, which has Sarah, Cushy, and Amara from Old Balder, and they have obtained Dorothy and Leo, as we saw. And we have Stale, Zoe, May, Hallie, Corey, and Jacob. And what a motley crew I would say that tribe is in general. When Shane, you saw this split, who did you think was like the tribe that was maybe like best suited to get along? Like who was the group that was getting along the best to you?
Ogun, 100%.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it shows, right?
Everybody except for Audrey in that tribe is very in your face.
Mm-hmm.
So they were all just like we saw like immediately after we got their whole little Ogun dance thing that they all do.
Yeah.
And like that was immediate. Like they literally Olivia and Anthony on the we gave them like 10 minutes with the tribes, which we didn't show because obviously we didn't have enough time for that. But like the first thing they did when they like got them was taught them the dance.
We ain't no slogan. I mean, they're cute. I love them. I think they're fun. And I guess if you have a cheer, maybe you feel more inclined to support your tribe.
Well, when I saw that tribe, I was like, oh, this is definitely the strongest tribe.
Mm-hmm.
It shows they were the only one to win. Which I didn't realize till after the challenge ended. Like, oh, 2 tribes are going to tribal.
He said it. He said it.
I think I just forgot. I was like, oh, 2 tribes are going to tribal. Oh.
I have in my notes, what the fuck does turning salt into butter mean? Which is, I think, a phrase that Eric uses, or Zoe uses. I think it's Eric, right?
Eric.
What the hell does that mean?
He's been saying this since episode 2.
I know. What does it mean? It means nothing.
Eric is convinced that it's like his little catchphrase. That like we have gone back and forth, argued about this. It makes him look dumb.
Stop speaking in metaphors. Give it to us straight.
Metaphors is one thing, right? But like, this makes no sense. Butter does not come from salt. I'm furious every time he says it. And I will.
Well, one thing that he did that we haven't been airing because truly I don't know if I could watch myself watch this, is Eric at the end of each round, he took a random piece of fruit and he ate the fruit on camera, and at the end he'd be like, turning salt into butter. And then that would be it.
I want you to include that just once.
We watched him eat fruit for like 5 minutes. One time we watched him eat a banana completely sideways. He opened it up sideways and then ate it like down this way and across. It was really weird.
I want to spend a day in this kid's head.
I'm deeply troubled by this, Shane. I just want you to know.
I'm saying this kid's head, he's probably older than me.
Who knows, Lee? Who knows? Well, back to these tribes. I love also that the Stale tribe thinks their name is Stale for a little bit and keeps forgetting. That was a great one.
How many people pronounce it Stalin tribe? Like, it can't just be Olivia and me.
That's Olivia.
Seriously? Like, that was the first thing that popped into my head when I heard that tribe name.
They just said Stale.
They just said Stale?
Tribe.
Oh, no. As soon as I saw the name, I was like, oh no, they're calling it the Stale tribe. Uh-oh. Here we go.
I kept thinking they were going to call it the Stalin tribe. Stale Stalin.
That's really disrespectful to Pennsylvania, Lee. How dare you? So
I don't know your account. I don't know
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I promise.
So the history.
Lee's an excuse.
I just learned about religion and Easter.
It's gonna be great. So, what did you think of this challenge, Lee? I love this challenge. I think it's a great idea, great concept, and great execution. I have some questions about how you can Google things, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we didn't really prepare for that. We weren't really thinking about that.
Yeah.
We also weren't thinking about the time, but yeah, we'll talk about that.
This challenge watching is fun, is great, it was good. Personally, for me, I despise it because I've done Twitter challenges. One challenge elimination was you have to enter, like, I check in at this time over a 12-hour period. Me being the only person not from America, it had to go from midnight. It had to go from 1 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon, and I couldn't stay up for that long. I had school the next day. So I got eliminated in a challenge similar to this where you have to do something repeatedly over an hour period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So personally for me, I will never want to do this challenge again. It's that and flags. Flags always get me as well. If there's a flag challenge this season, I'm going to be triggered.
There's not.
Thank God. That's yeah. So Shane, first of all, you didn't expect people to Google things?
I mean,
did you expect me to know them right off the bat?
No. We definitely expected them to Google things, but I guess I just wasn't. We also weren't expecting them to stay up.
Ooh.
That one was the big one. We didn't expect as many of them to stay up as they did. Like, we kind of figured, like, maybe it'll be, like, 1 or 2 people that will stay up. But literally, when we were sending questions until maybe, like, 2, 3 in the morning, and they were all just vibing. Like, they would all rush to the call. So the original goal was that we were going to go all night. But
God.
Anthony just was apparently a typing god. So
I think if you do this again, maybe do a rule where nobody can answer the same question twice in a row.
yeah, we didn't really plan for that oversight. I will say that we are not doing this challenge again. So.
See, I liked it. I think it's like the sort of, I think that what a good, especially an org challenge, and not necessarily to say that this is an org, but like what you need is you need to have your tribe be accountable, and you need people to be able to have moments of either failing to participate or participation that would essentially be the same as like, oh, that person didn't help in the challenge by lifting anything. And I think this was a good way of doing that, of like, hey, you didn't participate, you didn't help us. You know, you didn't log onto the Zoom at 2 a.m. Where the fuck were you? And I thought it was like a good way of balancing that out, and then also giving some people the opportunity to participate maybe in a different way, because I think it was like, you know, puzzles and challenges. Sometimes it's good just to like have a question, you know. Now, Leo was very upset that you did not accept the answer diamonds, which I thought was hilarious. They're not diamonds.
I think Leo's starting to show his like his colors to his tribe mates, which could be a real issue.
Yes, I think that with the Michael stuff from last week, and then I think this week being kind of very cutthroat, considering like Amara was the one who really reached out to him originally. I think that Leo's target, or even Leo's just like notoriousness, is probably growing over the course of the next few episodes. I mean, unless it doesn't last that long, but we'll see.
He just pissed Sarah the fuck off, and you never want to piss somebody off with an idol.
Yeah, therein lies the danger zone here that we will definitely get to. Lee, did you have any standout moments? I loved just is it the Ferris wheel? Like, I feel like I liked learning about the Ferris wheel. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, I think I was more trying to figure out what are the answers to these questions. I kept trying to read them quickly, but I'm not a fast reader. So I was like, oh, I wonder what the answer to this question is. I was kind of hoping they'd be Survivor related, being like, yeah, I know these answers, but no, it was just general knowledge.
We learned from that mistake with Elle.
Yeah.
We miss you, Elle.
Yeah, Elle, we miss you. I hope you're doing well. Alpha All Stars. So once Anthony wins it for their tribe, and the Ogun tribe is not going to tribal council, the other two are, and I think immediately anybody watching knows that like there's the tribe where Jacob and Hallie are basically screwed, and then you have the tribe where if Leo and Dorothy can pull this off, shit's gonna hit the fan. And I feel like that you knew that from the second. Shane, did you know that? I would assume from production side as well.
Yeah, it was quite obvious that shit was gonna hit the fan to me. I mean, I didn't know if Cushy was gonna have the guts to do it, but I mean, it made sense. But I don't think that long term it was smart for her, because now she's gonna have all the Baldur people being like, "What the fuck?" And then also, how loyal are Leo and Dorothy going to be to her?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky. Because she's in a very tricky spot, and I feel for her, and I think that like if she can sort of wager her relationships, like if she can bounce back to Sarah, who, as we know, has an idol, it would be very interesting. But yeah, I agree. Not a great spot for Cushy overall. She's definitely low in the power rankings. No faults of her own, but just she's been put in a position where she doesn't have a lot of power, and there's nothing she can really do about it. So this is her taking control and executing some power. Lee, what did you think of Cushy's spot here?
Definitely at the time, it was definitely the right decision for her, considering that I'm pretty sure if, let's say, Dorothy did go home this tribal and they did lose again, Cushy would be the one going home.
Yeah.
These two tribals is what we always see in swaps, like the two directions it goes. You either, when you're in the minority, you either cut off the other person you're with and hope that they keep you, or you target somebody on the other tribe that might flip.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw both results happen. We saw the tribe that cut each other off being Jacob going home, and then the tribe that managed to get somebody to flip, resulting in Amara going home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this reminded me almost the most of like I guess the David versus Goliath tribal council where Natalia goes home and Alec kind of flips. And I think long term we know that move wasn't really great for Alec overall. And I'm curious if this move is going to be like short term beneficial for Cushy, but like potentially long term not at all beneficial for her.
I mean, it really just depends on challenges and if
I agree. It's all about whether she can make the merge kind of unscathed.
Yeah. Will she be the Alec that flipped, or will she be the Mike that flipped with David versus Goliath? When Mike flipped on Natalie.
Yeah, but I think people understood that one a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, classic Mike White. So on the other side of this, I was very curious, and I'm wondering, Shane, if you can tell me more about the like Amara Leo relationship. I guess I was just like so kind of brain dead that I didn't really catch on like where it fell apart, other than like people basically checking stories and going, "Hey, did you talk to this person?" And then everyone going, "No, I didn't." And it's like, well, this person just told me to talk to you. Like that. Do I have that wrong or?
I think Leo was just feeding her BS. Like he was going to do anything he could to stay in and make sure that he wasn't just going to stay in for this vote.
Yeah, definitely.
I think under different circumstances they might have worked together, but because he like knew that I think having that advantage was also a big downside for her because that was public.
Yeah, and we didn't even really talk about that, huh? The advantage.
We're never going to see what
this advantage. I liked the concept. Sorry, I love the concept. R.I.P. It's never going to be sucked on.
We're never going to see the visitation ticket in action in College Survivor.
Well, I think it would be most useful if Amada had been able to like, if Ogun had lost, like had Amada been able to go to their tribal, like that would have been a big deal because
yes,
you know that would basically ensure even if Eric and Michael don't get Audrey that they've got
at least be a tie.
Yeah, and then for Leo, those are his two, I would say, closest alliance members, and that's really, really dangerous to risk.
And he knew that if they lost, that Amada would go. And
I wonder if, like the Ogun tribe said, they tell the person use it right away. If Amada did use it in that first tribal just to get rid of it, would she still have gone home? Could she still have flipped? Would they maybe target Sarah instead, or would they
target
each other?
I think it's possible they target Sarah. But Leo and Sarah knew each other a little bit before the game, so I think that it was like already an established thing, and I think he was just generally more scared of Amada. Like we talked about this like pre-show, like drama and music people generally like have a harder time just because like they are so extroverted, and that's not always a good thing in this game.
Right. Yeah, and I oh, sorry, go ahead, Lee.
Oh no, I was just saying, don't we know it's like being extrovert is never a good thing.
How dare you read me like that, Lee? How dare you? Well, I thought
like
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I wonder why they thought it'd be a big thing, because the visitation ticket, I mean, never mind. I've seen the visitation ticket screw somebody's game over. Wait, what was this advantage called again? Was it just...
We didn't give it a name.
Oh, I just called it the visitation ticket because that's what I've seen it.
I think it could have seriously fucked up Leo's game had it been put in use for what Amada was probably hoping to use it for.
Yeah, I think that
season 2.
What?
Oh, is it back for season 2? Good question.
No.
Oh, we're never going to see it.
Season 2 has way too much stuff going on for us to throw that into.
Oh yeah, tribe swap every second tribal, probably.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, I think that Leo makes the correct move here. And I think honestly, I think that I guess it's interesting. I feel like what Michael might have done is because I think that Michael and Eric not fighting hard enough for who gets the advantage really fucked over Amara in an unintentional way. But I'm curious what you guys think would have been the best solution. Is it to give it to somebody on the Ogun tribe? Or not the Ogun. Give it to somebody on the former Alder tribe. Maybe even like Hallie or a Jacob to kind of screw them, essentially, right? Because they're probably going home anyways. So why not give them the advantage to like keep your Balder tribe safe and fuck over the
Yeah, I think that's probably the smartest thing, especially since Stale went first. Like, just flush the advantage out. But the funny thing, I died with Anthony's like, oh my god, she's gonna love that. And Amada's like, fuck.
I think it would have resulted in a wheel no matter what, because Michael and Eric would have wanted to give it to original Balder. Olivia and Anthony might have wanted to give it to original Ogun. And
Michael and Audrey thought about giving it to an original Ogun if they wanted Corey, May, and Zoe to.
Yeah, I think maybe Michael should have done. Well, Eric wouldn't have, but Michael think he kind of have an idea or an assumption on the tree of Corey, May, and Zoe.
I mean, yes, but the key part they're missing is that Eric is in that too.
Yeah, because I was thinking if Eric wasn't in that tribe, maybe Michael should have pushed an Ogun member to get it, attend the Stale tribe, and then try to get rid of Corey, May, or Zoe. Who, speaking of Zoe, found an idol this episode.
Oh, queen shit. And poor May, who's like, if I had just waited 10 minutes more, I would have been there. Poor May.
Yeah.
And do we think that May is going to really put use to the Zoe Sarah thing, or do you think that's kind of empty threat?
I don't know.
Because so far what we've seen from May is kind of like passive gameplay, in the sense that like she says like kind of mean things, like harsh. She's cutthroat, but we haven't seen like real action from it.
Strategy to it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I also have a lot of. Pardon me, I have to talk a lot of Survivor lately. But Lee, do you have any thoughts on this?
I definitely think May as a player might not do anything. She might say she might, but I don't think she will.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it was a mistake for Zoe to tell people. I think it's always a mistake telling people you have an idol.
Unless, I mean, I agree with that, but unless like you need them to absolutely like pull off a plan, like say like you need to make sure that they vote a certain way, and like they know the votes are coming to you, it'd be like, okay, like for this vote, like I know that we need to use this idol, like let me show it to you so we can all get through. Then that makes sense. But I wouldn't just like blindly tell people I have an idol.
So yeah, I think a situation that it was good telling somebody you had an idol, pulling a reference from Survivor, was, spoiler in case, was in Australian Survivor when Phoebe found her second idol and told Christy, I have an idol, and then they planned together who they're going to vote off. That was one of the rare few occasions telling somebody you have an idol was a good thing.
Yeah.
But majority, and in Zoe's case, it was not a good thing telling people you have an idol, because now, even if it wasn't an empty threat, it's in May's head that maybe I should get rid of Zoe and not worry about this idol.
Yeah, I think maybe if you survive like one vote together as a group and, you say like, hey, like we made it through. And I guess technically like you can even lie about it and say like, oh, I went back and found it later. Like, I think the fear, right, is that somebody, if you tell your ally that you found an idol later in the game, they go, well, why didn't you tell me earlier? So
that was the situation with Amara. She got an advantage and she didn't tell everyone in time.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to kind of mitigate the damage of like when you receive something, how long you wait to tell them, but you can just lie and say, oh, I went back and looked. Like, why is that so? I don't know. That's easy. You just say, oh yeah, I decided to look again. I don't know. But something I feel like we haven't really talked about is Eric just telling Audrey that Michael's his number one ally, and his and Michael's number one ally is him. Like, what a bonkers decision to reveal this information to poor Audrey. Like, this is totally a misplayed moment. Shane, what did you think of this when you saw this going down?
I think that's a major blunder by Eric. And Eric is showing his cards because Audrey can talk to Hallie, and Hallie can talk to May. It's a mess. Like, when you tell Audrey things, you're going to tell Hallie, essentially.
Right.
Those two are very connected. So I think this was a big mistake. And if he's trying to flip Audrey, telling Audrey that Michael is his number one is like, is it the move? I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's the big problem. And Lee, I don't know if you noticed this as well. Is like, why would Audrey flip to you if she's not going to become your number one?
Trying to think. Like, surprisingly, it's a move I expect Eric to say, just judging by how he's playing the game so far. I think in his head it probably thinks, hey, if I show her that I have this ally that I'm close with, I can also be close with you. That might think that she can flip. I'm just trying to make sense of this, and when you're trying to make sense of something Eric has decided on doing, it's a task to try to come up with something.
That's shade, baby. Yeah, I really think that Eric fully whiffs this. I mean, shout out to the Spud Boy or whatever the hell they call him, but I really feel like this is a moment where Eric is overplaying and is not thinking about the information he's revealing to Audrey, especially considering Audrey is someone he can work really closely with, and he just doesn't. And he can work really closely with her if he lies about how much he cares, or cares about the game of Michael. But instead, he's just going to show his whole butt and be like, okay, so me and Michael are in an alliance. Do you want to join that alliance? You will not be the number one for me. It's like a terrible move. I'm sorry, Eric.
Also, I'm guessing it's now common knowledge that Audrey and Eric live right next to each other, since they were literally in the same call during that challenge.
Yeah, that's the other part of it too, right? Is that once that relationship is more obvious, they're kind of screwed. And I think the person that is going to be the most screwed if this tribe goes to tribal council is Eric. Eric is boned beyond belief. And I think the only real solution is if Zoe is willing to play the idol on him. But I don't think that she necessarily is. I don't think that losing Eric is a terrible thing for most people, because as we know, if Audrey tells Hallie and Hallie tells May, then May will probably tell Zoe that Eric and Michael are number ones with each other, and then Zoe doesn't give a shit. Get Eric out of here. Who cares? Like that, the logic doesn't work, and I think Eric's time in the game is pretty limited right now. I think he was in a good spot, and now he's not. That's my poor interpretation. And all I had to do was say one sentence, and it's like, oh, there goes your spot in the game. And back to, I think, Leo's magical adventure of talking to everybody on this tribe. I loved that the editing, we didn't really see Cushy come into play until later. And then it was like, here it goes. Here are the wheels turning. At first, I was really buying the Amara-Leo relationship. What about you, Lee? Did you think this was actually a thing that might work at first?
Seeing Leo's game, maybe at first, at the very beginning, I think it could have been something. I think Leo was very happy to get rid of Dorothy, since they both said they don't really know each other that well. And it could have been something, but I think once the advantage took place and Leo's festering hate for Baldur players definitely helped him join forces with Dorothy and Cushy to vote her off, and definitely the advantage probably played a part in it.
I thought this was a great episode for Dorothy. I thought that she played everything really correctly. She was really willing to work with Leo, but then also maybe throw him under the bus, but then save her own ass. Shane, this was a standout for me about Dorothy. Am I wrong? I feel like she had a lot of control with Leo over what was going on. Maybe Leo was driving the bus, but she was like reading the directions, you know?
No, I definitely think that this was a good episode for Dorothy. It went well for her. She said it herself, like, do I stick with Leo? Do I flip? Will that play in later? Because she's letting him run the shots, essentially, while not letting him know that she knows that he's running the shots.
Yeah.
That he's running the shots. So she's letting him think that he has the control, even though I do think Dorothy probably had more of the power here. Just because, like, her name was the one on the chopping block, so she was more on defense. Like, Leo is the one who executed the move, but they needed Dorothy to be able to lie about it in order for it to pay off. And she almost blundered because their lie was pretty bad. Like, I don't know if I would believe that. I 100% wouldn't believe that.
Where she said she's just there to make friends and she's happy whatever happens.
Yeah, like, I know. Or like the thing about, like, voting for Leo, or, like, I just wouldn't buy that. Like, especially knowing from, like, Amada should know from Elle, which we didn't have any content of this because they never filmed together. But Amada should know from Elle that Dorothy and Leo were in an alliance. So she should know that they're not going to just flip on each other. Yeah,
exactly. Like, I think that Amara was kind of a little too comfortable and I don't think the Baldur 3 women were really checking in on each other to an extent that would sort of create a bond that wouldn't screw them over. And meanwhile, Leo and Dorothy were checking in with each other a lot and sort of being a good alliance member to each other. And I think that really benefited them in the long run. And yeah, I think Dorothy did a great job. Shout out to her, saved her own butt, and I think got out like a real sort of threat, you know? Michael and Amara are a huge alliance, and I think that it was a great idea to get rid of Amara, even though I'm devastated.
Yeah. I think in this situation with Amara, you can tell that she watched Mason confused, because the situation reminded me a lot of Sarah from that season, where she was like, we're voting this person off, what's the point of me talking with them? Oh, I'm just gonna sit here and be comfortable. So
yeah,
you can tell that there was a lot of Tafi'i in Amara in this episode.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. But I think ideally the ideal move was getting rid of Sarah and flushing that idol. But the unfortunate thing is both Leo and Sarah kind of hinted that they didn't do that for, like, social reasons. And, like, Leo is like, well, she's definitely going to be plotting revenge for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of on the opposite side, where I think it's better to get rid of Amara's advantage than it is to maybe get rid of the idol, because
well, they don't know she has the idol.
Well, they don't know she has the idols. That's why it's the move.
Yeah,
but
get rid of the
if they go to tribal,
advantage.
If they go to tribal again, Leo is probably gonna get idled out.
Unless they try and be like, unless they somehow figure out being like, hey, let's just do Cushy.
Yeah.
And they vote for Cushy instead, which I don't see happening. I see them still targeting, well.
Yeah, I think it brings up the interesting point of, like, when you are on a 4-person tribe and you're trying to basically break up a group, is like, do you say to one person, do you try and get the third person on board, or do you try and, like, sort of sneak attack from the other side? It's very interesting, and I'm kind of interested to see what would happen if they go to tribal council, but I also don't really want to lose anybody in this tribe right now. So I'm kind of like, don't go.
Well, they were also kind of talking, like, I think it was Dorothy and Cushy were like, oh, we can throw the next challenge and get Sarah out. Like, why would you do that? No.
Throwing challenges never works. It might work for a tribal. It's not going to work long game. Name a person that threw challenges that won a season.
Well, I think regardless, you don't throw a challenge on a tribe where you do not have a clear majority. Like
And with
at the
so
very
few people.
right, at the very least, like let's say the Brains tribe and the Brawn tribe and Cagayan, right, is throwing the challenge to get rid of Cliff. They know they have the numbers, but like in a 4-person tribe, are you fucking out of your mind?
Oh, well.
Like, no way.
The only person who would have means to throw that challenge, who would get out of that alive, would be Sarah.
Sarah.
Because she has the idol. And because if they go to Amara, she knows she's next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's so dangerous, and I would never want to throw that. You know, 3-1 majority. Govan, what are you talking about? No.
Yeah, 3-1 majority where the one has an idol.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's the delusion, and that's why we love College Survivor, right? Is that they're like, oh, I have this genius idea. Let's throw a challenge when it's 2v2, basically.
I think that, yeah, I don't think it's as cut and dry as 3v1. I think Cushy and Sarah still have like seeds of working together potentially.
Yeah, Cushy can easily explain, like, well, you didn't tell me the Kevin vote, I didn't tell you the Amara vote, so now we're even. And who knows, maybe Dorothy could flip on Leo and try and get him out.
Yeah, that's the other thing is, like, I think Leo, like you said, Shane, Leo's been calling a lot of shots. What's in it for Dorothy? Like, especially considering that when you go into maybe a swap or like another swap or maybe even a merge where your tribe has a lot of numbers, if you're not like really in the core of those numbers, you can easily be picked off. Like, to me, it reminds me a little bit of like Navidi, where if you go into the merge with like, oh, Dom and Wendell are going to keep me safe, and then it's like, no, they're fucking not. Like, they're just picking people off subsequently. I think it could be a good move for Dorothy to flip on Leo in this moment.
Yeah,
I would love for left women to go home.
I mean, we've only lost 2.
I know, but even still, that's too many. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, they don't want to. They should probably do like the unintentional tandang. Is that what's called, where you purposely vote off, or the unintentional
Matt Singh? Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that's it. Where go in with minority and then have the bigger tribe cut each other off.
Yeah. I agree. And so is there anything else we want to say about this tribal council? I mean, I just want to say RIP Amara, of course. But is there anything else to say about this one before we jump over to Jacob's last march? Great. Well, bye, Jacob. I'm so sorry that it has happened to you. This was an interesting one. And I'm wondering, Shane, if you can paint why Jacob was the target here.
I think that Corey kind of outlined it well. It's like they thought that Jacob had stronger relationships on Ogun, which was a miscalculation on their part. I think that Hallie definitely is the person that has stronger ties to people on Ogun, and they want to keep Hallie around more than they wanted to keep Audrey around. But this was their thought, is that Hallie was like less active than Jacob, and Jacob was way more schemy. However, they don't know that Hallie is a big fan. So, and I think part of this was because May had a connection with Hallie, and Jacob and Corey and Zoe all knew each other, but they weren't totally like, they thought he was schemy and they thought that he could have an idol, and they wanted to cover their tracks, and they thought that Hallie would be more likely to flip in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think they thought that they could get away with like their alliance with Hallie still in. That's why they split it. Like they said, like they're splitting it so that it doesn't look like they're like all unified. Will that backfire?
Now that's a tribe that should throw a challenge because they didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, because there's literally nothing that they have to worry about.
Yeah, I wonder if Hallie, the Audrey to Hallie information pipeline, I wonder if Hallie can weaponize that, because that to me I think is the biggest advantage Hallie has is weaponizing any information that Eric has told Audrey to then destroy the Balder sort of core. But I don't know if he's going to do that. And then also go and sing that Holly can have the Ogun idol. Who knows? Who knows is a great question. Who does know? Not me. Lee, what did you think of this tribe and the sort of inevitable tribal council?
I mean, we knew it was either going to be Jacob or Hallie, and I kind of knew Jacob because, well, he doesn't really have a good, I don't want to say good enough edit. You just knew he was going just because the type of player he was. It's definitely, looking at it now, Hallie does have more relationships because you have Audrey and Hallie, Dorothy and Hallie have a connection, where Jacob has no one, pretty much. So I think it was probably a mistake voting him off. Where he's definitely more schemy, Hallie has more relationships and could actually go further, while Jacob could have been an easy merge boot that everyone could agree on.
I think that Jacob probably also would have kind of figured out the whole Leo, Olivia, Anthony trio, whereas I'm not sure, and also like there's only so much time before somebody figures out that Olivia has the idol, you know what I mean? Whereas Hallie, I don't think is even thinking about that as much.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for one time Olivia's in the call. It's like, guys, she just blurts out, I have the idol. Okay. I'm just kind of waiting for her to scream it out to the world. She does like skywriting in it. She lets off fireworks saying, I have the Ogun idol. Mm-hmm. She performs a song and dance to it.
Yeah, she plays the bagpipes. I do think I'm wondering if Leo feels that he is in a tenuous spot, although I don't know if he will, because I do think that is Leo's personality, right? Is I don't think he can really say whether he's in a bad spot when he thinks he is in a good spot.
No, I think he knew he was fucked at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, he even says it.
No, but I'm saying now that he has successfully voted out Amara, would he have wherewithal to say, I think I'm not in a great spot, I'm in an okay spot, and then Olivia comes in with the idol. Like, I feel like if Olivia has this idol, she can hold on to it forever, and that's fine. But if she's worried about Leo, is now the time to play an idol on Leo. You know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if that's going to come up.
I think the funniest thing, I don't remember if I put this in the episode, but Leo calls it the blind side of the season. So
everyone says that about a blind side. It's going to be the blind side of the season.
Don't threaten me like that, Shane. That feels like a threat of guess what could happen.
Yeah. May goes home with only 2 votes.
He is definitely leading into being a little bit cocky about his position, which he probably shouldn't be, considering there is an idol on his tribe, which he doesn't know. But
there's an idol on each tribe. Each tribe has an idol. Olivia has Ogun, Sarah has Balder, Zoe has Stalin.
Yeah.
I mean what's Stale? What? How do you pronounce that tribe again?
You said it right the second time.
I thought I said Swale.
The Swale tribe, no, that I would be very
I'd get behind that.
Keen to see. Well, I think for next episode, I'm really excited for Michael's wrath. Michael seems like he's gonna kill someone, and I can't wait for it. But realistically, Michael's in a terrible spot right now, and I'm wondering if he needs to sort of sacrifice Eric to rebound from it, because
he won't do that.
Are we at 13 now?
Yes.
So, and Shane, don't give it away, but I'm assuming it's 11-person merge. So you just need to make 2 rounds, and there could be a situation where the next tribal council is a double tribal where 2 tribes are going, or you just gotta survive 2. It's not. All right, fine. Fuck you, Shane. No, but I think it's if you can just throw Eric under the bus, then you can make it another round, and that's what Michael really needs to do right now. Is he needs to make it just 1 more round, and then he'll be okay.
He won't do that. I don't see.
No, he won't do that. But
he's going to be like, I already lost Amara. I can't lose Eric.
you can lose Eric.
He still has Sarah. I mean, again, this won't be showed in the episode, but he definitely blames Sarah for Amara going home.
How about you blame the people that actually voted her off?
I mean, he internally blames Sarah. I mean, again, it's not relevant to the storyline, so it's not in
Going to
the
go off.
episode. But yeah,
I'm
he's definitely pissed, and he calls Cushy a little rat. So, but then he's a really hypocritical statement. You'll see on Tuesday. It's great.
yeah. I'm not gonna like him as a player.
This upcoming episode, is one of my favorites of the entire season.
Oh, I can't wait.
And maybe I'm
yeah.
because I edited it, but I also think that it's one of the most interesting votes. So,
Well, that's what I think is exciting about these really, really small situations, and why I'm glad you guys did it instead of just swapping to 4 versus 3 or whatever. Yeah, on one tribe, it really brings out the sort of interpersonal dynamics in a new way, and we get to really get to know people like Dorothy a lot better. And for me, I'm just cemented in my May winner pick as I continue to be. But I love that we got to see more of each of these players at the expense of Jacob and Amara, who I thought were two. I really like Jacob, and I will not stand for anybody to slander him. I stand by you, Jacob, the whole way.
He made it further than most of us thought he would.
Well, I mean, Lee's still here thinking that Audrey would be the first boot, and then the second boot, and she's still here. So,
yeah, she's surprised. Watch her win the season.
All right, that would be incredible. We've seen freshmen do it before, why doesn't it happen again?
Yeah, but I don't think a freshman like Audrey could. But it definitely would be a surprise if she can.
Well, and Govin mentioned something interesting. This was a real tearjerker. Everyone voted out from swap to merge. Amara and Jacob included cried after being voted out, which just hurts my heart so deeply.
Damn, why do you post them like that on a public forum?
Oh,
but I love that because it just shows that they care and that they wanted to they wanted to play, and they were here to play, and I love that about them. And I hope they'll consider playing either All-Stars or playing another live reality game, especially Jacob. I feel like he's close by to a lot of what's going on right now, and if you're a Survivor superfan, you want to play Survivor again when you play it once.
You play once, you have to play again.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you're a super fan the first season and you kind of burn out within the first 2 episodes, you come back and try again.
Yeah, try again. Shane, why are you making your players cry so much? This is not nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like we tried to do that. I think the game gets as you get more and more invested in it, it becomes harder to be voted out.
Yeah.
Especially,
Absolutely.
I think people that really just got swap fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is really a lineup of people who, well, I think Amara lesser, but Jacob really just was hanging on by a thread, and that's all he could really do. I think Jacob really tried his best, and I want him to think he went out not giving it his all.
Well, he could have just found that idol if he had just not said where that clue was.
Yeah,
because they all saw it. They all saw it, and that's how they figured out where to go.
Woof. All right, fine. Jacob didn't do everything he could have, but he tried.
He could have played off that weird puzzle thing as an idol.
He texted his prod chat immediately after. He was like, "Shit!" in all caps. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh, that sucks."
We've all seen those situations where you mean to send a message privately, and next thing you know, it's a public message saying I'm worried this person is trying to make a 3-2-1 plan. What is going on?
Oh, I mean, we've seen people send idol clues to the whole cast by accident. So,
and we're probably about to see next episode somebody that sends an idol clue that's probably going to get a bit screwed, and not in a good way.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this season, let me tell you, and I love every second of it. Is there anything that we have to say in our closing thoughts as we wrap this up? Any final thoughts, especially Shane?
No, I'm just super excited for Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. I am too.
Like I said, this one holds a special place with me. So.
I'm so glad we do these so close to the episodes, because it just means I get more excited as we approach the few days beforehand. Lee, any final thoughts?
Can't wait for Tuesday. This episode definitely made me confident in my other winner pick of Dorothy, since my first one of Kevin kind of blew away.
Okay.
Excited to hear how this quote-unquote favorite episode of The Editor goes with this interesting vote. Like
Top three.
Top three. Okay.
What is it going to be like? Everyone gets one vote.
I think it's my favorite just because of the way that it, like, I like the more interesting votes and dynamics. So, like, I think episode 1 is obviously, like, my favorite episode because it just, like, it sets the whole thing up. But I think this is, in my mind, the top 3 are, like, the ones that have the most interesting dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay.
More split votes, less unanimous ones.
Correct. And in general, make sure that you are subscribed to both the Scotty Survivor YouTube, but the Scotty Survivor After Show YouTube page. You're checking out live reality games on all of our social platforms, and you're joining the Facebook group to see just more live reality games in general. Facebook.com/group/live reality games. Shane, thank you as always for being here with us. I really appreciate it, and I love getting to talk about these episodes. And Lee, thank you for being here as well. And everyone who's watching, go in, co-host icon in the chat. We'd love to see it. Thank you for watching, and make sure to check out all of Live Reality Games, and especially Scotty Survivor on Instagram. Y'all got Instagram, you have YouTube, and you have Facebook? Who cares? Not yet. Facebook's for old people.
Yeah, Facebook's kind of dead.
Facebook's for old people. And with that, we're going to end this broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching us, and have a great day. Stay safe.